Hello, my name is Rachael Fisher, and I am here with Bionic Buzz today at Production Without Borders, featuring panelists of filmmakers, directors, and producers. We had plenty of great interviews on our carpet today with our panelists, so stay tuned for more information. And we are here with one of our panelists, Eileen Tasca. She herself is a producer, Academy Award-winning films. And now tell us, Eileen, how was it for you to be on the panel today?
Well, actually, it was a very interesting panel because what looked as production from the very independent small art house to the producer that really is kind of more of a series, and so it was a whole gamut of production. So it was interesting for me to hear Larry's take on things. And it was a wonderful experience, great audience, very happy to be here.
Glad to hear that. So tell us, congratulations, first of all, on EO. An amazing film, I think. And I wanted to ask you more about this. So you recently got nominated and just won for Cannes, so congratulations. But tell us, what are you thinking about the future of EO, and where do you see it now?
Well, after Cannes, we sold to 150 countries, including China. So we've had an amazing feedback on this film. And, we hope that it will hit the young target. A lot of young people are very interested in it. So what is the future of this film? The future of this film is getting a message across about animals, and it's also getting a message across about a different kind of filmmaking. Take risks, folks. Take risks. If you're an independent filmmaker, take risks with the storytelling, but also be aware of what the craft is. Don't get in some intellectual, cerebral trip. Understand that it's about getting audiences that are interested in buying your story. So therefore, you have to, when I was talking about the emotion before, it's very important that you know why you're doing this and you're in touch with your emotional center. So, we feel that animals are very important, and there's a whole thing about the future and the biosphere. Here we have politicians that are denying everything, people that are even denying that the election works. So there's something very peculiar happening, right? It's like a collective global psychosis that's taking place. And yet there's 70% of the animals that are extinct. Well, this is something that, we're trying to redress with this film, and the young people are responding. In Athens, we had the biggest venue in Athens, 900 seats, completely sold out, all young people. This is important. We wish that, people at the various studios and channels and so on understand how important it is, the relationship with animals, and how important the young people think about this. So let's get everybody motivated.
Definitely, let's do so. Now let me ask you, what was it like actually working with the filmmaker and working with the animals on set?
Well, the filmmaker was the easy part of it. The difficult part of it was that we were dealing with Poles and Italians, and there's this cultural issue with respect to the Poles. They tend to be rather closed-minded, although they wouldn't look at it this way, but it's very much you're Polish or you're a foreigner. So we had to really bridge that gap. Having said that, working with Jerzy Skolimowski is an extraordinary experience. He's an amazing man, and it was a real privilege. I would recommend anybody having the opportunity to work with a real auteur who actually, basically won all the prizes. The only prizes that he hasn't won are the Oscars and the European Film Awards, and we're up for the European Film Awards. And who knows, maybe we'll get nominated or shortlisted. We don't know. We hope. That's why I'm here right now, apart from this wonderful seminar. So.
Amazing. We hope so, too. Fingers crossed for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate everything.
And we are here with one of our panelists, Golsa Sarabi, actress and now producer. Thank you so much for coming, Golsa.
Of course, thank you for having me today.
How was the panel for you today?
It was fascinating. It was so much fun. I'm so glad that I was able to be a part of the multicultural panel with different point of views. It was amazing. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, we're happy to have you on it. So tell us, you're wearing this beautiful gown today. Tell us more about the meaning behind it and also the artist.
Yes, the artist is one of my very close friends. His name is Mohtadi, and he did such a beautiful art on my dress, which says "Woman, Life, Freedom." Our Iran in the front, and also in the back has Mahsa Amini's name, which was the 22-year-old woman that was killed by the Iranian government in Iran, which brought the whole awareness to the whole world and all the revolution that is happening with all the Persian women and men in Iran Iran right now. So I'm so honored and humbled to be able to have the voice that, can be heard. And this is a privilege to be here and talk about matters that are so important right now.
Well, thank you for that. And you are currently working on a film yourself called Maya. Tell us more about that. You're acting in it, starring, and producing it. Tell us.
Yes, I'm one of the co-producers. It's a beautiful story about a CIA agent. Her father was killed in front of her eyes when she was living in Iran. And also, she needs to get close to the son of an Iranian official to be able to retrieve some information about people who do cyber attacks. This story becomes very personal to her when she understands some things about, his family and what has happened in Iran to her family previously. And I'm very excited about this story. It's about courage, strength, and love at the end,
Well, that's amazing. We look forward to watching it, and we look forward to hearing more about what you're doing. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you, and I'm also very excited to be the executive producer of Back in the Know, which is a movie. It's about a nurse that he's going through some struggle in his life, and so many things that has been going on in his life, but it's very interesting that how his life message kind of continues even after we don't have him throughout other people's lives, and how someone can kind of continue living even without being in this world physically, and that's the beauty of that story.
Definitely. And so tell us, kind of getting back to more Back in the Know, how was it like for you to switch from acting to now producing and working on that?
It's very fascinating because I started producing with 4 short movies as I wanted to have a reel, in the beginning of my career. So I feel like it's a very interesting ability to do, because as an actor you need to be very open. And you need to have a raw kind of surface, and being able to understand and feel the emotions of the characters, and being able to step into different zones and feelings and thoughts and behaviors. So you can't be very logical about it. It's all through the heart and through your connections with how you're understanding, the character that you're playing. And that's the beauty of acting. And I love that, being present, having that freedom to express myself. And being the producer, it's all about logic and business and, meeting people and all the production and money and all of that. I think it's kind of like having my both side of the brain working type thing, which I love it so much because I've been an honor student for mathematics. So I think I can manage it together. And I love the co-creation part of the producing, when you meet so many different people, but the goal is one thing. And that to make the movie, to make the best that we can, and bringing all together from different point of views and managing that, I think it's so fascinating to be able to do that.
I love that. It definitely unites everybody together to make that one film and that one purpose. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And we are here again with one of our panelists, Michel Shane, known for his recent documentary about the PCH. He's also known for several films, including Catch Me If You Can and I, Robot. Producer, etc., Money to Go, an entrepreneur, plenty actually here with us. So now tell us, Michel, what is it like for you to be on the panel today?
Oh, it's fun. I love panels. I used to do them quite often. But the thing about panels is they've got to be controversial. You've got to get discussion going. And if you're just there to market your picture, then it becomes boring because the audience is sitting there listening to you talk about your experience. You've got to be able to drive them into the experience so that it's an interactive experience.
Definitely. And how does that play a role in both narrative and documentary filmmaking?
It's the key. Controversy sells, whether you make someone angry. So what I like to say is it's not a bad film or a good film if it emotes an emotion. If someone walks out of the cinema or walks out of viewing the film and goes, I hated that, that's an emotion. Someone walks out crying, that's an emotion. So if you can transcend and bring them to an experience, you've succeeded, whether the film is a success or not.
Awesome, and thank you so much for that answer. That is truly inspiring. So question for you. So you recently worked on a documentary about the PCH. So tell us more about that and what it was like for you to interview and actually have that personal connection to the story yourself.
Well, it's the second documentary I've made in my life. The first one was in 1988. So I'm not a big documentary filmmaker. I was driven to make this story because my daughter was murdered by a suicidal driver in 2010. And it brought an awareness to me about how dangerous the road was. Being a storyteller and a filmmaker, I figured the best way for me to do something was to do that. It did take me almost 10 years to get this documentary made because of the fact that it was so difficult to do. It was not a high budget, and I did it in my spare time and went through a whole bunch of different directors. But to me now, it's the first time I've ever made a film that wasn't about making money. For me, it's to get the message out and to get people angry so that I can create change.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And so what is that call to action that you really want audiences to do or even discuss after watching your film?
Well, I think they've got to get angry. I think they've got to look at PCH. And of course, I deal with one small section of all the roads in America, or the world for that matter. But they bring an awareness that just because you're behind the wheel of your car doesn't mean you're actually safe. And the faster you're going or the rush you're in may make you more dangerous. So what I hope I can do, at least from my point of view, is to create change and bring on a little more safety.
Well, thank you so much. Anything to add? Any other films that you're working on or currently want audiences to know about?
Well, I'm always working on films. It's what day of the week is it? What story am I telling?
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and great work on the panel.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
And we just finished the panel. We are here with one of our panelists, Larry Kasanoff, known for his work for producing and distribution for Terminator 2, Lego Star Wars, and Dirty Dancing, among several films, now working for Threshold Entertainment Group. Thank you so much for coming out, Larry. We appreciate it.
Thanks. I'm having a lot of fun.
How was the panel for you? What was some conversations that really spiked you?
Well, see, I think what's interesting about these panels is it doesn't matter how the panel was for me, because I think one of the first lessons of filmmaking or performing is know your audience. So my hope is that it inspired at least one person in the audience to do something they wouldn't have done before they came.
That's amazing. And so for you as a filmmaker yourself, what has inspired you over the years that can be passed down to some audience members watching today?
You know, I was very lucky. I wanted to be a producer since I was a little kid. I always knew. I got a great job out of college, and I've been producing movies ever since, and I am as excited or more excited when I wake up today as I was from the beginning. I just want to make great movies and entertain people all over the world. And now, as we talked about in this panel, I want to make movies that appeal to people all over the world.
Amazing. What passion. You see that here, right here. Awesome. And so I guess my next question for you is, how do you plan to do that? What are some of your upcoming films and things that you're currently working on?
So here I'm going to be a tough interview subject. We never talk about movies in development, but we do have several movies that we have developed that we're working with countries like India and China to make as globally appealing films.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we are here with one of our audience members today from the panel, Caroline Lagerfelt, actress known for Gossip Girl and Beverly Hills 90210.
And Sweet Magnolias now, third season on Netflix.
Of course, we all love it. So tell us, what were your thoughts on the panel today?
I thought it was really, really interesting. I particularly liked the fact that they were talking about working together with other countries, with other film companies. They were talking about, when you talk about sort of getting people reflecting different people in the world, people tend to stick to color, but they talked about cultural differences, how you have to get along with, understand the sort of subtle undertones of different cultures. They're filming in Iran or India. My son's a location manager in Sweden, and it's very different filming over there. Swedes are much more reserved, much more restrained. I think if you come in as an American and wait, looking for everybody to hug and high-five you, it's a little bit of a transition. And I thought that aspect of was fascinating. I love the talk about documentaries. I'm a huge documentary fan, and I didn't know the story about his, but wow.
Definitely. And I guess, coming from you as an actor background, where does, I think, cultural and background play a role into that?
I think, well, I'm from Europe originally. I'm half Swedish, half English, but I've been in America for, oh my God, over 30 years. So when I'm in America, I sometimes feel very European. And when I'm in Europe, I feel totally American. And I'm actually quite happy straddling the two. I'm very happy to be citizens of both places, of Sweden, of England, and of America. And it's made me, I think, quite attuned to differences in culture, and I have a multicultural family of my own, and both in race and sex and language. It's a three-language family, and I like the fact that America is becoming more open to reaching out to other cultures. I think that's great. It's been very America-centric before, a lot of the movies. And I think now, watching Eileen and watching these different people, I think it's a great step.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for attending today, and thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
And we are here with one of our audience members today, actress Dustin Quick. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a fantastic panel.
What are more of your thoughts? How did you feel the conversation went?
I thought it was really eye-opening because we are in a different world as far as how cinema is watched. Pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, where people are watching them at home, and also the world can kind of, I think one of the things that was coming up, we're kind of becoming a global audience. And we don't necessarily have to have a film that reaches just part of us. We could possibly have a film that reaches all of us. We're all in this pandemic together, so we should probably be able to watch a film together. We can do it at home or through social media, and I think it was kind of a nice, hopeful, and positive take from kind of the collective trauma we've all been through together with this. And in a way, it's great to see people coming together and creating art and telling stories that can take us somewhere positive and also give change, positive change.
Definitely. And so can you tell us some more about what projects you're currently working on? And
Yes. So I have a role in a film. It's one of the last films by starring Bruce Willis, and it's called Die Like Lovers. It's going to be coming out next year. And my husband, Mehdi M., he's a musician and has his own role in there as well. And we also just recorded our newest song, and we have the music video footage already. So he's going to put that together, and we're going to have a big premiere, and we'd love to have you there and share our music with the world.
Well, that is fantastic. Thank you so much. And let me just ask, before we go, with Blazer Moment right here, tell us about what you're wearing and even the piece.
Yes. This piece is from the fantastic producers of this event that she's given me for her Oscar party, Nicole and Gotham, put on these fantastic events. And this particular necklace is by the Broken Hearts Club. And it is a designer who took a negative and turned it into a positive. And it's actually kind of my go-to hot lady boss necklace, and I think it definitely symbolizes finding the silver lining of the human experience.
Amazing. Well, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dustin.
Thank you so much. You're so lovely.
We are here with Nicole Mouge, one of our actual hosts of the panel, working with Kultura PR International. Thank you so much for bringing the panel to us today, Nicole.
Oh, thank you, Rachael. Yeah, it was one of the best panels I think we've ever had. Very dynamic, really great curation of the panel, and I hope everyone enjoyed it today.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for hosting. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Rachael.